John Cougar Mellencamp has released his 9th record. He's matured, he's mellowed, and he's standing up for the things that he believes in, from everything from the Special Olympics to the farming situation in America. MuchMusic's Terry David Mulligan met John Cougar Mellencamp recently for the first interview that we've had in years.
I was watching MuchMusic in Indiana because I got a satellite dish.
Oh, yeah.
And it just happened to be on. And I see myself, and it's like, how old is this? And it's a whole big special they'd put together, right? I thought, man, I got to start doing interviews again because that is awful.
Anybody can take a yellow journalism story and hop on the bandwagon, you know, and like the whole Springsteen thing. I mean, personally, I think it's bullshit, right? Because New York, right? Nothing similar. But when you write about kids, you write about kids. So I think that's a similarity. See, Springsteen, I mean, I really can't see Bruce Springsteen doing a song called Hurt So Good. Come on, baby, make it hurt so good, sink your teeth right through my bones. You know, I just can't see Bruce. And maybe. You know, I mean, here's what I always say. You know, the whole thing started like this. First there was Woody Guthrie, then Bob Dylan came along. Everybody said, oh, this Bob Dylan guy's just a Woody Guthrie clone. Then Springsteen came out, and everybody said, oh, this Springsteen guy's just raping Bob Dylan. Then I came along, everybody says, hey, he's just like Bruce Springsteen. Well, here's the bottom line with all that. I'll be damned if Hurt So Good sounds like This Land Is Your Land.
I think when I first started out, I had a huge chip on my shoulder and was looking for somebody to knock it off, if you know what I mean. As opposed to being, I think what was misunderstood as cockiness was actually trying to find out pushing real hard to find out what I was about and who I was and what my band was about and what you know, where I fit into this whole thing. And like now, I'm not so much angry and just, I've said this before, but I'm just disgusted. And there's a difference between anger and disgust. I kept being pushed as being some kind of spokesman, you know, whether I wanted to be or not. I kept reading this about myself. And it was a responsibility that was kind of handed to me unwillingly in the beginning. And then I would talk to people, like I said, like with the Scarecrow record, didn't know really what it meant till
You saw how it affected people.
Right. And then I thought, well, I guess I can have some kind of positive response on people. You know, there's entertainment records, and then there's records that entertain, but pretend to make people think, which is the type of records I like to make. You know, basically, let's face it, it is just a record. It's just a record, and it's going to be millions of them, and there'll be more from whoever, and it's not the cure for AIDS. Let's face it. It's not that big a deal, but we can play like it is if you want to.
How is it possible that there are still people out there, not many, but there are still people, peers included, who still think that what you do is an act, the person that you are, and they keep waiting for the real you to come tumbling out? Why is that?
I got put into a box pretty young. You know what I'm saying? I got neatly wrapped up and said, well, that's what he is. And see, whenever I stepped out of that box, or whenever I do step out of that box, people don't want to accept that. It's like, well, now, come on. But, you know, really, I have no control over what people think about me. I have no control over it. And at 36 years old, I don't intend or have the desire to prove one way or the other anymore. You know, those days are over for me. I mean, this is what I do. You either accept it or you don't, and that's pretty much the long and short of it. And I'm not angry about it. I mean, that's just the way it is. So, you know, I just have somehow kind of almost, I don't know, transcended out of that. I mean, I got a wife and kids and family and a life, and those people just, I mean, it's not that they're not important, but they're really non-factors. They're just so far away from the main event, if you know what I'm saying. I mean, you know, that's their deal. It's not my deal. That's their deal. And if they want to do that, well, you know, maybe it makes their life more interesting to say those things and believe whatever they want to believe.
Be like thunder, I don't know why they don't explode.
You've been in the business long enough that you must have gone through phases in your career from when you started out until today. I think in the beginning you remember when you got ticked off when you walked in and all the record execs were in suits and they weren't kids selling the kids, as you said. Mm-hmm. Did you go through a couple of different...
Well, you know, the music business was really an eye-opener. I mean, I was probably really naive about the whole thing, more than maybe most guys, because from where I came from, you know, as coming from the middle of nowhere, and then all of a sudden, you know, doing this. And you have these crazy ideas. You know, it's just like DJs. You know, you sit there as a person and you listen to somebody talk and you think, well, I wonder what this guy looks like. And then you see him and it's like, man, this ain't it. No, this ain't it, you know.
He looks like Ichabod Crane.
Yeah, you know, and so I think it was pretty much the same with the business. Never, even to this day, been doing it for a long time now, even to this day, never ceases to amaze me what people think, you know, and how they do their job and how they behave. Always surprising to me.
Is that why sometimes you don't want to meet certain people?
I don't want to, yeah, I don't like to meet, I tell you, I'm pretty happy not meeting other artists. I'm pretty content not meeting record company executives. I mean, I just don't want to know.
Become somewhat of a political animal in public. Does this cause you to be convicted for those kind of views? I mean, your actions cause reactions from people in suits and ties?
I don't think anything that I say should be taken personally by these people. I just think it's the nature of that animal. You know, that animal is interested in one thing: profit. I know a lot of guys that run corporations, and they still call me up wanting to buy my songs from me to put in their commercials. I think in their minds, see, they don't see anything wrong with this. Like that tennis shoe company saw nothing wrong with using Revolution. And I mean, you know, I read what they said. We didn't do anything to degrade this song. And in their minds, they haven't. But just the fact that it was done was the faux pas, you know. That's what was wrong. You know, that song was very important to a generation. And then 20 years later to see somebody running in a pair of puffy tennis shoes was wrong. You know, that song did not mean that. There were yeah, I tell you, I do an oldie set in my show. I used to.
Yeah.
Where I would do, like, you know, a whole bunch of old songs, 15 of it. And we got down to rehearsal this year, and we thought, well, let's do this song. Well, we can't because they have Pop-Tarts going to this song now. Well, let's do this song. Well, we can't do that song either because it's a beer commercial now. Well, let's do this. So we've pretty much pinned it down to let's do Like a Rolling Stone by Bob Dylan, because that's about the only song we could come up with that hadn't been, you know, whored out to, you know, to some corporation. Corporate America, what they have in mind for us, and I think a lot of them, the executives, like, it's just like this commercial. They think they have their best foot forward, but they don't. I mean, in the 70s, man, Detroit, Michigan, Seymour, Indiana, Chicago, Illinois were towns, and they were themselves, and they had a personality. They don't now, because it wouldn't be so bad if they just take them stupid, ugly signs down, you know, and at least give some of the personality back to the town. Because you drive in, and you're on a big long street that has Kmart, Walmart, McDonald's, Hardee's, Captain Beefy Tea, whatever the hell it is, you know. They have taken it away from the local merchants, you know. There's no small business anymore in this town, and if there is, you know, it's subsistence living, and I think that's wrong.
A very special remembrance of a Christmas past. John Cougar Mellencamp, we hooked up with him in Detroit. If you remember correctly, we were doing the interview. We asked him about Christmas, and surprisingly enough, he said it didn't mean that much to him, but it meant a whole lot to his children.
I don't really like Christmas too much, you know. Christmas, the corporate America has pretty much taken Christmas away from me. I hope my kids can still enjoy it, but you know, I don't like Thanksgiving getting over and all of a sudden, Mattel, you know, it's like, oh, God, starting this crap already, you know. Primetime TV, there's advertising toys and stuff on. I mean, I'm sure my kids enjoy it, but I really, you know, the commercialization of Christ is just, it's a pretty yucky situation.
And you do find a way through it. You find the best parts of it?
Yeah, I try to, like, buy my kids nice things so that they can have a nice Christmas. I really do it for them. Because if it was just me and my wife, I wouldn't put up a Christmas tree.
You recorded that song on Kissing Santa Claus for the Special Olympics?
Well, that had more to do with the Special Olympics than the Christmas aspect. I was born and I had neurosurgery when I was 3 weeks old. So I see these people. Another girl had that exact same operation that I had. Now this is 36 years ago. Neurosurgery was pretty new.
Just starting out.
New game in town. And we both were operated on by the same surgeon in Raleigh Children's Hospital in Indianapolis, Indiana. And this girl was in a wheelchair. I mean, she's paralyzed from the neck down. And I was scheduled 3 hours before her. You know, both went the same day. Exact same operation. And she's paralyzed from the neck down. And I got to look at that and think, you're the luckiest bastard in the world, you know. And that's pretty much the way I feel about it. Even that I am able to walk and move around and you know, play sports and am active. Because after the operation, they told my parents, well, we don't know if this is a success. You got to wait and see. And if his head starts swelling up, and he can't move his limbs, and he can't feel anything, then we suggest you just put him in like a home, because he'll die. And that's what they told that girl. The girl who also had this operation. But neither one of us died. And mine was a success. You know, this girl's 36 years old, and she's been in a wheelchair her whole life. So I'm real lucky. So me doing the Special Olympics record really had, you know, if they wanted me to do, you know, an Easter Bunny song, I would probably have done it, you know, or a Tooth Fairy song. I mean, it didn't really matter. So when Jimmy called and asked me, it was like, sure. Has to reevaluate what he does and look at what he's doing and say, you know, okay, I've done this now. Well, where is there left for me to go? And you got to be able to not be afraid to put your ass on the line sometimes, because I could have made a lot more records that just followed suit. But I don't think I lost the soul of what I always did. No. But I wanted to color in the picture with you know, maybe go from crayons to pastels, you know, or to oil. See what I'm saying? It's still the same type of song I always wrote. It still has the same drum beat, but it's just colored in differently.
Did you think it was a brave move? Did you feel like you were stepping out?
Well, I as far as commerciality goes, yeah. I mean, it's 180 degrees away from anything that you hear on the radios, or at least in the United States. And I'm very happy that it's been received critically and on radio so well. I mean, because if you listen to it, it's really a big sore thumb sticking out there. You hear Paper and Fire going, man, that don't sound like it should be on the radio. Canada and Australia both, I mean, they're both great markets for, you know, people like my records. And I never really, the funny thing of it is that I never really worked those markets, you know what I'm saying? It was just a thing that happened. I mean, I went up there and played and got in some trouble on one night, and other than that, you know, that's about it. You know, I didn't even play during the Hunt tour. I never went up there. And, you know, people down here have a funny idea about Canadians, and it's just a stereotype thing. And you know, you think the minute you cross this river over here, it's like
glaciers.
That's right, it's glaciers and mounties and igloos and yeah, and bears, and you know, it's the wild kingdom, you know. And of course, it's not that way at all. But you know, it's like people would say to me, "Are you going to go play in Canada?" I said, well, they don't even know who I am up there. And all of a sudden, I woke up one day and had sold hundreds of thousands of records, and I became very, you know, I figured out that I better go up there and find out what's going on and try to figure out why I'm popular there. And you know, I feel very lucky that, well, I feel glad that I'm even doing this interview, you know, because it could have been quite the contrary. I mean, I can go to Paris, France, and I could probably do a show, and there wouldn't be this many people there. So, you know, I feel pretty happy about that. I think it's worn out, you know, at least for me it is. I can't come up with an original idea for anything. And videos in the beginning for me were real fun. You know, gosh, this is really a challenge. And there's still a challenge, but my problem with them is that, you know, when we were kids and listening to records, we were the main players in the songs. All the time. Standing in the Shadows of Love, that was us.
Yes.
Now, when you see the videos, it's me. There I am, there's my mug, you know, and all of a sudden, it's me. And I don't want it to be me. I want it to be you.
It's difficult.